Hello, this is Steve from Beato's Leatherworks. Today's project is, that's right, you guessed it, Florsheim shoes. Now we've got 3 pairs to do today. The color code on this one is 93602. Depending on what year they were built, sometimes the manufacturer tinted the colors a little bit to different shades. These are the same 93602s, believe it or not. So it will vary in different shades depending on when it was built. This particular one, what we're going to do is we're going to dye them navy. All right, we're going to burnish the toe a little bit darker. We're going to do a light color split welt with the blue stitching, blue bottoms, blue insoles. This one here, once I took it apart, I realized that it needed a footbed. It was just in bad shape. So we're going to do a new footbed on this one. We're going to do, again, the 360 welt, but a darker and in the wood grain bottoms. This one here, we're not going to replace the welt on this one. This is in pretty solid shape. We're just going to basically do the bottoms and then just kind of clean and polish them up, and then she'll be ready to go. All right. Oh, that's a cool sign, right? Yeah, a friend of mine from Buffalo his name is Brian. His shop is called Soul Man of Buffalo. So if you guys are ever in the Buffalo area, check him out. He's got a cool little shop. He's a cobbler, and also he sells footwear, right? You know, good quality men's, and then he just started doing ladies' footwear also. Used shoes, but very solid, good quality shoes that he sells them. So if you're ever in the Buffalo area, go say hi to Brian and tell him Steve from Beto sent you. All right, so let's get started. Mr. Chris.
Hello, hello.
We are celebrating today. Happy birthday to you. All right, that's enough.
That's enough for happy birthday. All right.
We're celebrating Chris's birthday, so make a wish, Chris. Betos gets more viewers? No? Damn it.
Wait.
That wasn't the wish?
That was the wish. You should check your likes buttons.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, just turned 28. Feels good.
I was going to say 27. Damn. 28. We haven't seen 28
in 28 years.
28.
28 years. Oh my God. Wow. Wow.
Where did the time go, bro? Where did the time go?
That's crazy. That's actually crazy.
So yeah, we're the same age, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
I'm older than you are, actually.
Oh, but what, like a month? May, June. Yeah, like 2 months.
Yeah. Happy birthday. All right, we thought we'd share it with you guys to celebrating Chris's birthday with some, he's got, what do you got, scone?
Blueberry scum.
I got a blueberry muffin and some coffee. Today's coffee is Greek coffee, all right? That's
Yes.
the coffee that you brought, so we're enjoying Greek coffee. So yeah, so I shut down for the whole month of July just to catch up on work. I figured, we'd take a couple of days off at least, maybe go to the beach,
What beach you going to?
Virginia Beach is it's not too far from here. I think it's 3 hours, 4 hours, something like that.
Yeah, 3.5 hours.
Yeah, so just take a couple of days off.
Yes, we have. Growing up, we used to. Virginia Beach was our beach. Every year, the family would take a week and a half off and go down. So my dad was a chef, so it was always a monster cooler in the Chevy Impala, the gold Chevy.
Probably food for the whole the 3 weeks of
3 weeks of food,
10 families.
fried chicken, pasticho, and just Greek dishes. Every rest stop, kid you not, felt like we stopped, picnic. 6 hours, 6.5 hours to get to Virginia Beach. So as kids, we just assumed Virginia Beach is like 6 hours, 6.5. Get into high school, and some friends are like, "Hey man, come on, let's go to Virginia Beach for the weekend." I'm like, "No man, that's like 6 hour drive. What are you talking about? I don't feel like doing that." Dude, it's like 3 hours. I'm like, "No, it's not. I did it for 10 plus years. I'm telling you, man, it's like six and a half hours."
That's the Greek way, 6 hours.
I'm like, "No man, it's 6.5. I'm not driving. It's 2. It's gonna kill my weekend." And they're like, "Dude, you're crazy. It's like 3.5 hours, and 3.5, and realize it's 3.5 hours." So for the longest time, my sister and I were like, we just assumed Virginia Beach was like, I don't know, going to like South Carolina. It was ridiculous. Non-stop food. I just remember the fried chicken,
What good
bread.
memories.
It's great.
That's the foreigners in us. You know, we got to do that kind of stuff. You know, everywhere we go, got to put our fingerprint on there.
Yeah, bunch of traveling gypsies, you know, big ass cooler, getting out of a beat up old gold Chevy Impala. That's how I remember it.
We did that one time. We were driving to Florida, and I was driving my brother's van, and we literally we pulled over in a rest stop. I mean, literally took out the coolers, put a blanket over them. You had 2-3 coolers on top. It looked like a table. Once we got done with it, cheese, cucumbers, I mean, meats, you name it. You know, we had a nice dinner there. We spent the night in the van that night over there. Who cares, you know? As you're young,
Oh
you know,
my
you
God,
just say
it's
the hell
great.
with it. Just enjoy yourself.
Man,
I think
imagine
we- I
being
think
in a
we'll-
car now, 6 hours, no
No,
video,
hell
no phone.
No,
Oh man,
no, sir. Those days are gone.
yeah, they are gone.
All right.
All right,
Hope you guys enjoy the day.
have fun at the beach.
We'll catch up again. I'll see you guys later. Nothing. Now, even though these are solid quality shoes, Florsheim did use fiberboard on their heels, sometimes plastic. Some of the models have leather heel bases, but majority of the Florsheim Imperials will have either a fiberboard or a plastic heel base. And also some of them came with a fiberboard midsole. Some of them, not all of them. I don't know. There's a lot of different models out there. Will have different construction methods on them, so it's going to vary what you're going to find. But normally, whenever I buy a lot of Florsheims, and I tend to look for something that's been unrepaired. Now, it can be they can reheal it, right? That's fine, rehealing it, as long as they don't sand the hell out of the welt. But when something has been resold, most of the time it's butchered up and it's not. You can't really salvage much of it. You got to redo to complete the whole thing. Most of these repairs I usually do the whole thing anyway. But as a consumer, if you're buying something, you might want to look for a pair that's been not repaired before, so it hasn't been butchered up. Now there's a website out there called vcleat.com. I'll see if I can put a link on there for you. This guy's name is David, who started this V-Cleat. Basically, it's for mostly for vintage shoes. Lots of information about Florsheims. And go ahead, go check him out. And if you're interested in buying an older pair, that would be a great source for you to start learning about these shoes. That way you know what you're going to buy. You won't get stuck with a one that's been butchered up. All right, let's continue. All right, so let me show you guys something about the welting stitches. Okay, this is basically a chain stitch. Chain stitch is one stitch that goes all the way around. And if you undo one of the loops, most of the time you can just pull that welt right off. Okay, now that stitch is still one stitch. Okay, sometimes we get lucky when we pull the stitch from the inside part of the welt right here, from the gemming, so that all comes loose. If I can get you on camera. Imagine that's the chain stitch. Okay. If you pull one, see how it comes loose? Most of the Goodyear welts that are mass produced like this will use this type of stitching. Now, if it's custom made or bespoke shoes, obviously it's going to be saddle stitching, where you got 2 threads going in and cinching it together. the way we're going to do it, we're going to use a jerk needle. This has got a hook at the end. And I'll show you guys the process a little bit later. We've done plenty of them in the past to show you guys. But that's how we're going to do our welt stitching today. All right, I hope that helps to understand how it's done together. All right, let's continue. So now we get to strip the uppers a little bit to make sure that new dye will absorb into the pores. Remember, this one we're going to do navy blue. There's no rushing this. You just have to take your time and go a little area at a time. Make sure you clean that surface very well. See that dirt? All right, let's continue. This is a stretching solution that I've mixed rubbing alcohol and water together. Now, over time, you're going to have creases. That's normal, right? So what I try to do, I try to roll those creases the opposite way. If they're vertical, I go horizontal. Soften those up a little bit. Spoon. Try to work those areas in as smooth as possible. Now, is that a solution to the problem? It's a temporary solution. It'll always come back once you start wearing it, okay? But with a little bit of taking care of them after you wear them, put them in shoe trees, you know, I think that you're going to have a much better looking shoe with the creases not being so evident. So it's not a permanent solution. It is very normal for creases to happen on shoes. Very normal. All right, let's continue. So what makes this a good quality shoe, right? For the time, the era that was built, I would say that this was one of the leading shoes that had an awesome reputation. If you look at the stitch density, double stitches, right on the right and left side of the broguing, it's very small. That's one sign of it that it's quality. We've got French binding going all the way around. Inside, these are felt that kind of cushion the shoe against the foot. All these perforations right there allow the foot to breathe better. Now, this is the heel counter. If you notice, the heel counter usually stops about right here, right where the ankle bone is. This one goes all the way to the arch area. You see that? It's longer, which gives it a nice support right at the arch right there. Okay. Just overall, I love these shoes. I think they're phenomenal. You know, it's just the in your face shoe. It's not a very delicate style, you know. And long wings, these are classic. These will never go out of style. So they're called wingtips, right? Because of this pattern right here. These are called long wings. Long wings basically go all the way. Short wings usually stop about right here. I don't know if I have one around here somewhere to show you guys. I'll see if I can look for one. We've got navy blue. It's a little too much. We've got royal blue. And we're going to put a little bit of thinner in there to dilute that. Okay. Q-tip. Stir your concoction. Now we can add a thin coat on the shoes. I hope I got the right shoe. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Let's see if we can dab that dye to put a little bit thinner coat on there. We don't want it to be too dark of a navy that's like black. We want to be actually see the blue in it. I can come back and tweak the color a little bit as far as making it a little bit lighter to show some of the brownish shade underneath. Give it like a patina. We can do that. It's never too late. I know it looks dark now, but once it gets light, once it dries, it'll lighten up a bit. Hey man, you just took a good pair of shoes and you ruined them, made them darker. Are they your shoes? No. Oh, Lord. I guess some people just don't get my dry humor sometimes. That's okay. Well, that looks kind of cool like that, huh? Maybe I should leave it like that. Nope, they're not my shoes. Therefore, we're going to do what the customer asks. Now I put tape right there on the inside so we don't get blue on there. Try to keep the blue off the lining as much as possible. Keep it on the exterior of the shoe. A little bit of precautions like that will go a long way on the finished product. All right, so we've got our foot up there. Okay, let me try over. So we have our footbeds cut out. We're going to install the gemming. Now the gemming is basically this piece right here. See that canvas piece there? That's glued to the footbed, and then the weld comes in, everything gets stitched together. There are different types of construction rather than this. This is basically mass-produced, Goodyear constructed. That's how it's done. This is called a holdfast. Now this is a very sloppy example of it, but you get the idea. This is the same thing. This is a footbed. A notch is opened up on the leather, and then once the uppers come in here, it literally gets stitched to the leather footbed, to the uppers, to the welt. This is a much better way of securing the footbed to the uppers. More of a structural support. Most of the custom shoemakers do that. But you're not going to find that kind of a construction on a mass-produced shoe. All right, we're just going to glue this on here. And let's continue. Now, while we got the footbed out of the shoe, we're going to go ahead and add some conditioners to the lining. It's very difficult to get to all of the lining without the footbed being off, but you can still add some conditioners to it. Maybe not all the way at the toe, just like what we were doing here, but it's better than nothing. All right, so we've got a light coat of dye over on top of the Phoebing's dye. The Phoebing's dye got buffed out, and light spray over on top of it. Put a little bit of burnish at the toe and on the back. Now we're going to add a little bit of cream. This is, unfortunately, this is not available to the public, but shoe cream would basically do the same, very similar to what I'm doing now. Just like, you know, if you're polishing your shoes. Okay, now we're going to take, this is Big 4 conditioner. Now I'm doing all this before I stitch the welt on, because the welt is going to be a natural color, and you don't want blue, anything blue, on the natural welt. You want to keep that welt as clean as possible. So that's why we're getting all this polishing, conditioning out of the way, so we don't have to do anything to the uppers anymore, other than maybe just put another coat of, say like another coat of condition. Oh, almost flew out of my hand. See, not too bad. So we're getting there. I think with that light welt, oh man, it's gonna pop. It's gonna look great. Let's continue. All right, we are making progress. Now, let me show you guys something. This is a split welt. All right, it's split, and basically the vertical part goes against the uppers, and the horizontal is on the side. Some companies, like Alden, will have that stitch on the vertical part. It's purely decorated. It's not, doesn't act as anything. Makes it look like it's a Norwegian stitch, which is basically stitched to the shoe similar to the Goodyear welt stitched, but it's mainly done with a holdfast, like what I showed you earlier. Now, Florsheim doesn't have this second row stitching on the welt. But the customer requested that, so we said, you know, figured might as well do what he wants. It's okay, since they're kind of somewhat custom now. You know, they're not really a Florsheim shoe per se, like it came out of the factory. So he wanted to add a couple of things to it, and we're like, no problem. So basically the needle goes through the holes. You hook the thread like that. Pull it through, and you pull this one through the loop, and you pull that back. So what it's doing, it's acting as the two pieces are coming together like this, and right, the tension is right in the middle of the leather, the welt, and the whatchamacallit, the shoe. If you pull too hard, it's going to go either way. So you want it to be in the middle. So you don't want it to be too far out, too far inside the shoe. So now I've got my leather pinky here, because if I pull on that, it's going to hurt the hell out of my finger. The other one, I wrap it around here and squeeze it through. And it looks like that. It's going to look good once it gets done. Alright, so I won't bore you with hand stitching us all the way around, and I'll see you guys later. Alright, so two issues here, okay? One is splicing the ends of the split welt together, which is this stitch right here. We're going to stitch that all the way across. Now, the other trick is that we need to make that vertical part stitch continuous throughout the splice. And you can't just, it's got to be hand stitched together, but you got to stitch it through the middle of the welt right there. It's a bit tricky to make that flawless looking. Okay, so I'm going to do it, and I'm going to show you what it looks like once it gets done. All right. It's getting there. Another day, another dollar. So I couldn't finish it last night or yesterday. So now it runs into the second day. So I have to come in and get it done. You know, I get asked a lot, some of my friends, like, how do I do it? I'm like, how do you do what? It's just, I just do it. You know? I think if you don't have a passion for what you're doing, you shouldn't be doing it. You really shouldn't. You should look for something that makes you happy and follow that. Anyway, it is what it is. So we are at the stage where we're going to trim the edges, start putting the soles on, and heel stitch them, and let's get this project done. All right, let's continue. Let's get started, I should say. All right, let me show you guys something. There are two kinds of Triumph toe plates. Okay, this is the 1.5 millimeter brass plated, and then there's this one here, 3 millimeter solid brass. Now this particular one, we're going to do the solid brass, the 3 millimeter. So we open up a little notch on the toe, the leather sole, to countersink this, make it flush with the sole. Now we have an issue when it comes to stitching though, because there's such a deep ridge right here. As you're stitching it, sometimes the foot of the machine gets caught in that edge right there. So what I do here, I built a small little ramp basically, right? The stitch foot comes across here, lifts it up, and clears that hump right there. And you can just pop that off and remove it after you stitch it. Let me see if I can show you while I stitch it. too shabby. And that's how I do my clearing that ridge right there. That's it. Now, with most of the time, most carpenters they'll put the sole on and they'll sand the edges to smooth it out. I like using my trimmer blades. The trimmer blades has a pattern on it. Zoom in a little bit here, Reza. See that indentation right there? That's basically the edge of the sole. That leaves a little lip on there. And then when I iron the edges, the iron has the same pattern as the blade. And that way it's got a nice smooth finish and it leaves a nice little lip at the edge of the sole. Nothing structural. It's just visual. That's all it is. So, but these are very sharp. They tend to if you're not careful holding the shoe, that'll take the shoe from your hand and just kind of slam it against the machine and damage the sole. So you got to be careful. All right, well, thank you again, guys, for joining me. I appreciate you guys hanging in there and watching the details that I put into these shoes. I truly love these shoes, and I think that they turned out pretty good. Now, the third pair, we had a little issue with stitching, and I kind of stopped it and walked away from it. I'll get to it another day. I want to finish these two pairs and upload the video, show you guys what I did, and I think they turned out pretty good. I think customers are going to be very happy. So share, comment, what else? Oh, thumbs up, subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it. All right, we'll see you guys again on the next project. Take care.